Welcome back to Bennett's Garage. Today we are working on a 2014 Lincoln MKX, I believe this one is. The customer says it has a misfire when driving. So I'm going to break out my computer and see exactly which cylinder it is. See if I can see if it's a coil pack, see if it's a spark plug. I can show you how to quickly test that. If it is a coil pack, we just switch it around to a different cylinder, fire it back up and see if the misfire happens in the new cylinder or if it's still in the old cylinder. That'll let you know if it's a spark plug issue or a coil pack issue. So let's break out the computer and see what's going on. We're actually getting an injector error. So, I have an idea. After looking at this, you can see positive 2 to negative 12, positive 14 to negative 9, and the number 3 is negative 1. Negative 4, I'm sorry, negative 1.3, negative 1.4, and everything else is not doing that. I no longer think this is a coil pack or a spark plug. We have a bad injector. Ironically, I happen to have an injector on hand. So, let's go ahead and replace it. You can take off your covers and everything. You're going to have 7 bolts holding on your intake. You're going to have to take off your intake plastic, which is a 8 mil here, flop it down here, and take everything else off. All this goofy stuff has to go before we even have access to the back side where number 3 is. So let's see. Let's take it off down here. Yeah, this right here is coolant. So you're gonna want to have some kind of block off. So as soon as you pull this hose up, you can block the coolant from coming out. That's why I have a cap ready. So, you know, you pop that off, you just cap it off. You don't have to worry about losing too much coolant. Next, you have the hose back here, has to go. Okay, yeah, I already loosened up some of these, so it's not a big deal. There. This big thick wire here slides in between the throttle body and the intake. On the very, very back, oh, these gotta come out. Alright, so now all of this right here gets pushed in and slides out. Alright, in the very back there's a clamp. Of course, I already took it loose, so you pull this. That hose does have to come out right there. If you stick your hand back here in the back, you're gonna feel there's a bolt holding on the intake from the back side. You gotta take that bolt out too. Then once you get everything loose, which I gotta do now, you just pull your intake up and out. Alright, loose, 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 and loose. Technically, there we go. We should make sure they all, that one's just being a bitch. There we go. It is loose though. There we go. So, I can't do it one-handed. Okay, when you pull your intake forward, you can see that hose back here again. It's not too easy to get to, but it does slide right out. And then you can take it and move it forward. There's the bracket that goes to that bolt here. You do have to get your hand down in there and get that bolt out. If the car's been worked on before, most mechanics leave it out because it's pretty useless. I know, it's for support. No, it's pretty useless. Alright, from here, you're going to take off 1, 2, 3, and 4, all 8 millimeters, and we're going to be replacing that injector here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this should be our number 3 injector. Alright, with your injector rail disconnected, I don't plan on disconnecting all the other injectors. I plan on just disconnecting this one specific injector, just this one. And I'm hoping to just take this injector line out, leaving this one behind. But I did loosen them up in case I have to do it. And again, I don't plan on disconnecting it here unless I have to, because this line should give me enough wiggle room. So she's being a pain. Alright, I gotta get a crowbar. When I pulled up on this, I can see the O-rings are still seated in each chamber. So technically, I need to go in and get each one of them O-rings back out and then reattach them to the injector itself. That's what I gotta do next. So from here, see this little clip right here? Get a better screwdriver on it. On the back side of the injector, I'm just gonna pull that out and set it off to the side. There we go. That's what holds the injector onto the fuel rail. Now, I should be able to unclip that injector and pull it out of the fuel rail. I got the old injector out. I went fishing for the gasket. So there's the gasket. So all we're going to do now is get this new one ready. And push back in. And got the new one clipped in. Unfortunately, I couldn't film and do it at the same time. Alright, I had to take the old ones out. And of course, I'm going to have to clean them up a little bit. Now we'll just clean them up and put them back on. Alright, once you get all the rings back on the injectors itself, all you got to do is just kind of push and wiggle at the same time. And you should feel it actually seat. Ooh, that's a tough one. So yeah, just push and wiggle until you feel it fully seated in your feel it seat. Now all you gotta do is start doing everything that you get to take everything out, put it all back together. So you have 4 8mm for the fuel rail. Set your intake back in place and hooking up all the hoses. Put down them 7 bolts. If you want to put the back one back in, you can. If you don't want to, in my opinion, it's not worth the aggravation. But I know haters will be hating, so professionally, you should absolutely put that back in. Then you also, before you put your intake back on, you want to take a rag and clean off your intake plenum. And just right here, you're going to clean that off. Make sure there's no corrosion, dust, dirt, anything like that that's going to be on there. Alright, my rag's still a little wet from brake clean. Wipe this puppy off. Alright, now first thing I'm going to do is hook up that back hose, since it's now easy to get to. Yep, just got to slide it over to hooks up.
Helper.
Alright, getting everything hooked back up again. What you want to do is, where's that little pipe at? There it is. Go inside, fire it up, and let's see if we still have issues with number 3. And there we go, look at that. Cylinder 3. Back to normal. No more issues. Alright, so we go back. We're gonna clear memory fault. Say yes. Go back again. I'm going to clear all the TDCs to see what's still active. Go back again and rescan. Alright, we're clearing here. Next thing I want to do is come back out here and do the smell test. Since we can't see the back injectors, if they're leaking or not, you can probably see one right there. Stick your nose down there and you start smelling. If you smell heavy fuel, that means one of your fuel injectors did not seat correctly and you're probably dripping fuel or leaking fuel out from that O-ring that we had to replace. So I smell no fuel. Yeah, I smell no fuel at all. So this job is done, other than putting a couple of these little hoses back together. That one's there, one's there, one's there, one's there. Yes, yes, yes. And this goes here. That one goes here. Come on. There we go. There we go. Alright. I gotta run up and get him an air filter because the air filter that came out of here was absolutely nasty. But this job is done. Thank you for watching.